Welcome to Monday night, hanging out with the crew here. I'm Brian, one of the people here tonight with the crew. And our show, as always, is sponsored by DJ Event Planner. Please have a look at DJ Event Planner and some of our other kind sponsors in the description of this video on YouTube. So John had some stuff he wanted to talk about. Jay had some stuff he wanted to talk about. So why don't you guys talk? What do you got? John was going to talk about some trade show stuff, and Jay was going to talk about some different trade show stuff, some information coming up about Atlantic City.
Yes, I think I can lead us in, and that'll give a nice doorway for Jay. We've got timely. We're actually on it a month ahead. We're a month away from the DJ X in Atlantic City on the boardwalk at the Hard Rock Casino. It's going to run 6, 7, 8, 9 of August. A lot of folks are getting in on the 5th for the Sunday night. There's events nightly, one of being which the DJNTV event. It's the 4th year that I'm affiliated with running this. And this year we're going to be at the Irish Pub on St. James Ave, about 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. And we go as long as we want to.
That's the show. That's where it actually all started, too, at the Irish Pub.
Yep, they get the nice patio outdoors, and if weather permitting, if we have to go inside, we can be inside just as well. So either way, we're set.
It's a nice place.
Pretty stoked for it. So
if you haven't been, you should come. It's really nice. It's a very social event compared to what you're going to find at other gatherings, especially the official gatherings at DJ X. It's a great show, but the parties can get loud and they can get crowded. This is very chill. It's very relaxed. You can talk to people, you can network, you can listen to music and relax a little bit. It's a nice break, and the drinks are a lot cheaper than you're going to find anywhere else. So
it's very true also.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good turnout last year, and I think for the Tuesday we're expecting it to be the same or better. So
yeah, it was really nice last year.
Been in touch with them, so we get the green light and we're ready to go for it. So it'll be a good time.
They were really cool to us.
We'll all get a chance to spin, and I believe, Jay, you've got something going on earlier in the day, but you'll be joining us a little later in the night after a Pioneer event.
Yeah, probably like 8:39, something like that. I'll be arriving in with the troupe. I've put the word out to at least 15 people. Be like, hey, you got to join me over here for this. Oh, okay. Well, you know, and Brian knows, obviously, one of the first years I met him back in 2008. Tuesday night was notorious at DJ Expo, the old show, for a promo-only Pioneer DJ party.
Yes.
And it was a free party next door at Showboat at the House of Blues. And, you know, just the 2008 lineup, I think the opener was Michelle Williams, who had a track at the time, Break of Dawn. And then I'll say this wrong, so correct me, please. I want to say Cheryl Lynn.
I don't remember Cheryl Lynn.
But not... Is there Cheryl Lynn disco artist?
Yes.
Then it's not Cheryl Lynn, but it was something like that. It was a girl from Jamaica who I think was with Akon at the time and had some... I didn't know her. Mm-hmm. So when she performed, I was like, oh. Then the third act that came on the bill, and I was with Brian and Pulse up in the balcony, was this girl came out, blonde wig, 2 dancers. She had this glowing like stick in her hand, and she did 3 tracks. I think she did Disco Stick, Just Dance, and I want to say Poker Face.
It was Love Game was the first
Love
one.
Game.
Yeah.
And it was Lady Gaga.
You also had Cyndi Lauper. You had Kim Sazzy.
We didn't know who it was. Yep. I mean, it was insane.
And what's the dude's name?
Was Salt and Pepper there that year? Or that was?
I don't think they were there that year. Who was that guy who used to sing on all the Getta tracks?
Oh, Chris Willis.
Yes, he was there.
He came out. He killed it. He sang the backing tracks, and he killed it.
And your favorite freestyle artist, George Lamond, was there?
George Lamond, who really, if you need freestyle, George Lamond.
Jay, what time did that party start? Like at 9 o'clock?
I think it started about 9 and would end about 2. And it was free.
Yeah. It would go late. Pitbull came one year. It was
50 Cent was there one year. Salt and Pepper were there one year.
That's what it used to be like.
Actually, that year it had Cyndi Lauper and Katrina of Katrina and the Waves. I mean, yeah, she'd come out and just be walking on sunshine.
I don't remember.
Or was the next year? it was, if I gave you the list of everyone that performed over the span of like 10 years, you wouldn't believe it. And it was all just free. You just show up and be like, here you go. Here's something to do on Tuesday. And then we would, back then, everything was 24 hours in Atlantic City. So we'd empty out into the Ego Lounge. And then by about 3:30, we'd all be hungry. So we'd go on a pizza search or Philly cheesesteak
or whatever was on the boardwalk.
Whatever was on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, it was just, you know. God,
so what's Pioneer got going on this year?
We're doing a couple things. The big one we're doing is going to be Tuesday night. We're doing a thing called Sunset Sessions. And it's going to run from 6:30 to 8 at the hotel. It's going to be up on the balcony.
Oh.
It's just going to be a little gathering where we're going to allow people to come in and hear the Wave 8 and Omnis Duo, because we're going to have 6 of them around the balcony. You're going to have a DJ. It's not going to be a show. It's not going to be like, look how good I am, check it out. It's really just going to be background, but it's going to give people an opportunity to get out of the show floor, which is loud.
Yes.
Go up there, meet the president of the company will be there. The VPs will be there. All the demos will be there. I'll be there. And it's going to be an open bar. So you come up and have a drink or 2 or 7. It's on us. We're in the midst of discussing maybe having some food, some appetizers for people. Just want to give people an opportunity to come see the Alpha Theta setup, because it's going to be all Alpha Theta gear. The Omnis Duo, the Wave 8s. We're going to have some exclusive giveaways at that event that you will not be able to get on the sales floor. So we're kind of hoping to get a decent turnout. We're going to put more press up as we get closer, but we're really excited about it because we just wanted to, you know, as you guys all know that have been to a show, it tends to be very loud. It tends to be very congested. It tends to be very, you know, kind of in your face all day. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know this, I know, so I will share the news. Normally, DJX runs noon to 6. This year, they're running 11 to 6. So they're starting an hour earlier. And for old timers who have done a few of these, my first show was 2006.
It'll be a long day.
They used to do, which I don't understand why, but when we were at the convention center in 06 and 07, the show started at 10, went till 12, stopped, then started again at 2 and went till 6. So there was 2 hours
lunch break.
Lunch break. So everyone just ran across the street to the Ton Tavern, have lunch. You know, we couldn't really do any partying, but the participants could. So they'd be busting down to the boardwalk, eating and drinking, going on the beach, and then roll back in between 2 and 6, just loaded. I've always wanted to buy one of these. Here's my credit card. It was like, so it was, you know, they kind of realized the vendors were the ones that put a stop to it, because we're like, guys, this is insane.
Yeah.
We've got like a, 8-hour day with a 2-hour break. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Just start later. So that's when they went to noon to 6 at the Trump Taj Mahal.
I wonder what the reasoning is behind going to 11 o'clock. I'd be curious to know how they reason that out. That's a long day.
I haven't heard. I think the problem is whenever the shows are short, and like you go to NAMM is like, I think NAMM is 10 to 6. Most shows run roughly 10 to 6, 10 to 5, something like that. So I think the logic was give the vendors more time to discuss with the actual customers. Because when it's really quick, like you're not coming in at 12. Like, yeah, a lot of people come in at 12. They do the rounds. Then they take off for an hour or two. They might come back. I think the hope is go in at 11 and have time to look at something, then go eat lunch, then come back, and then be able to say, aha, I do want to buy this, or I do need to know more information. So the vendors are fine with it. We're already there. Like,
sure.
Our workday starts at 2-3 hours before. So it's
Yeah.
not the end of the world.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they know what they're doing. I always felt like that the shorter the show, the expo floor goes, the more the sense of urgency is for people to make decisions and do something.
And I agree with that.
It's there all day. It's like, maybe we go, maybe we don't. But if it's a short window, we got to go. And it forces them to go. But that's my brain. What do I know? I'm an idiot. So,
well, and I can say with a certain sense of assurity, after watching this show for 16, 17 years, taking 2020 off, it's a hit and run show.
yeah.
You know, you go to other shows around the country and they're fly shows, meaning everybody's flying in. You go to the Vegas shows. It always shocks me the number of people from California that don't drive in. 2, 3, 4, 5 hour drive.
Right.
They don't show up.
Right.
You go to DJX and people are driving in from Montreal. People are driving like 8, 9, 10 hours to get to it because it used to be the mainstay of their purchase.
Right.
To the year.
Yeah. You see things which I always thought was funny. I mean, coming from the Midwest, I'm seeing these guys drive up, these young DJs drive up in these big body Mercedes for the day, and they're filling them up. Like the trunks are like roped shut with equipment and gear. And it's tied to the roof and everything else. It's just kind of funny. They just come in for the day from wherever they're coming from. But you get a lot of people from the Northern Seaboard. You get Baltimore, DC, you get Delaware, you get everything. You get it all. Coming in,
but they come and
Philly,
go.
New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Even
they come in
Boston.
Day one.
Even up as far as me.
Yeah.
Boston,
No, 100%.
Rhode Island, Connecticut. Yep.
And what is that, like a 4-hour drive for you guys?
It's like 5.5.
5.
Wow.
5.5,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it's not close, but it's nothing to see
370 miles.
a Massachusetts license plate in the parking lot there.
No, not at all. Well, and that's what's so weird about it is like you get that opportunity, and the internet has really kind of benefited and ruined it to a certain extent. Because before, I famously tell this story. I bought 6 Chave 199B uplights. And I got them for maybe, I don't know, like $7.95, $8.25, something like that at the show in 2007. So I had uplights. LED uplights, RGB, but LED uplights. And I immediately was selling them. I'd start selling them for the next year that summer. And we've had that talk. Like when we used to book weddings a year and a half out, you could call your clients, be like, hey, would you be interested in adding uplights? It's going to be, $50 a light, $300. But since you've already booked me, I can do it for $200. Well, you get the first 5 people. You've made $1,000 already. And now you can afford to go buy them.
Right.
So that was the logic
you can
back
sell
then.
before you.
Exactly. You're selling the future.
Before you buy it. Yeah.
Right. And now you look at something like lighting. I mean, if you had $825 for uplights, I mean, between Amazon and everything else, you'd walk away with, 20 uplights, for God's sakes. It's ridiculous. But that was the magic of X, was it was an opportunity. And we used to launch gear there. We launched the S9 there. We launched the 5000 there.
Oh, everybody launched gear at X.
Yeah. I mean, I would talk to guys, be like, hey, I don't really get it. I'm like, fine, don't show up at the shows because eventually the vendors don't show. And your ticket doesn't suffice the show. It's the vendors. And we're there to talk to you. So if you don't show up, why are we there? And it's like, I get the show because I'm in the industry long enough that the shows used to really matter.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish DJs would go back to that a little bit. But you have too many DJs that are like, hey, I've been a DJ for 6 months. I'm charging $2,800. I got all my info on YouTube. I'm using a $200 controller. I'm good. And it's like, I'm hoping the shows go back a little bit to people actually really caring, because the older DJs that I talk to, and there are guys I've known since 2006 at that show, they're just as passionate now as they were then.
Oh, sure. And you get
and
a
that's
lot.
exciting.
I think, I will say this before we wrap the show. When it comes to DJ Expo, what's so special about it to me what I was, I guess, alluding to before was that I do believe that, I guess, the northeastern seaboard of the United States probably has the strongest DJ community and the most organized, the most profitable DJ community in the world.
Yes.
I
agree.
can't think of anywhere else in the world where they're bringing in that kind of money. And it has a lot to do with the types of events they're doing and the types of clients that they have. I'm not suggesting every DJ out east is a billionaire. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying they all have it together, but I'm saying there are DJs out there that really are doing some amazing things. They're profiting. They are innovative. It's interesting to listen to what's working for them because it's going to come your way eventually. They're kind of the trendsetters
100%.
when it comes to anything that, I mean, the photo booth, they were doing it there first kind of thing. I mean, that's just what they were doing.
Well, and they take it differently. And I've said that to the West Coast people that have worked the show with me. And they've said, what's the show like? I'm like, it's very aggressive. What do you mean? I'm like, you know how you sit back and think you're awesome, but you're not willing to tell anyone what you've done to make yourself awesome? Well, you know, I mean, I'm my own person. I do what I do. That doesn't fly back there. People are in your face like, dude, I got 13 weddings this week and I need to get this controller. And they're excited about it. Like you talk to guys that will buy it from us. And then a week later, I'm getting a video message from them showing that they've spent 13 hours a day on the damn thing, mastering it. And it's like, I'll just say it. The West Coast, I don't know about the Midwest as much, but I can say the West Coast isn't as aggressive about the profession as the East Coast is. It just,
I mean, to get into why, I think would be another show, and we'd have a lot of ideas.
Sure.
But I think it's the sense of competition. Out here, it's very personalized. Like, I am who I am, and look what I do, and I'm my only me, and I'm going to do a great job. And I think that works very well. But I think when it comes to going back east, there's a sense of, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be the big dog. And
I actually
I'm going to go nuts with gear. And but they work at the gear. They don't just, you know, guys that just buy a piece of gear and go, I have a moving head, but they spend 10 seconds learning it versus the East Coast tends to be, I bought this and I've spent the last week and a half mastering it.
What you have to ask yourself, why they're doing that. And I think it's because they have the opportunity to do more high-end events. So they do it. So you've got the bar mitzvahs out there, hardcore. I mean, they're happening. And out on the West Coast, you've got some ethnic events. Of course you do. Midwest, we do too. I think the Midwest is a nice medium between the two places. We're not as hardcore as East Coast, but we're not as laid back as West Coast about it. And we do have the opportunity to make money here, but not nearly the opportunity they have to make money on the East Coast. And they're going by reputation.
I think that's the big word.
People think West Coast and they think money. Not always the case.
No, not at all. Not
always the
industry.
case.
No,
not
at all.
Yeah.
No,
the only money is on the East Coast.
But I don't think they're as hungry.
There's a saturation of DJs. There's so many that when you buy a piece of gear, you'd better learn it front to back and find out stuff that's not in the manual. You have to know it that well because there's 100 others just like you, and to make your phone ring, you get to know it better. So
Brian's probably been to almost as many Vegas shows as I've been to, and I can just tell you, my first mobile beat as a vendor, I'd been to it probably 3 years as a DJ. And it was much different in the late 90s. Every company, Gemini used to be there. They had a booth. That's how different the show was.
Yeah.
And it was like, you got to try gear. This is cool. Let me check it out. Then I went and did my first expo in 2006. I'm from that area. I know those people. And they were like chomping on the bit.
Yeah.
What you hear at X that you don't hear anywhere else is, oh man, this is awesome. I can't wait to get this to an event. That's the best way to sum up that show for me is people are excited about what the gear will do for their job.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving them a pneumatic nail gun and they put up plywood all day with a hammer. They are thrilled they've got this tool. And that's a difference of those two shows, in my opinion.
I've always walked away from Expo with something that I'm using at home.
Yeah, 100%.
That does well for me, that ultimately makes me money or sets me apart. There's something every year that I bring home from Expo. And I'm usually learning about this thing from another DJ who happens to be there and wants to share with me.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a lot more willing to share with me from somebody who's not in their market than they are going to be to share with somebody who lives next door to them, perhaps. But they are social out there. They do talk. They're not as guarded as you might think.
No. You'll learn. You'll definitely learn. And I mean, Ego Lounge was the name of the center bar at Trump Taj Mahal. Mm-hmm. And we held court there every night. 24/7 they were open. And at some point...
Jay was there 24/7 unless he was on the show.
I tried. Setting a world record, but I failed. But you would be there, and that's where I met Bill. I met Bill with... I can't remember who I met Bill with, but I met Bill with some other DJs from his folk.
I've met a lot of people at Ego Lounge.
And they will talk. You will sit down, and it's not like, hey, man, what's going on? You gambling? You winning any money? Like, that's not the conversation. It's they sit down and go, like, hey, man, what do you do for intros? When do you put the first dance? Do you do it before dinner? After like, everybody seems more hungry.
Now that you mention it, I think there are people who I briefly met at other shows, but I was able to get acquainted with them at Ego Lounge. Because remember me? Oh, yeah, I think I met you in Vegas. And by the time, the end of the night, you're best friends and you're friends for years. It was a really nice networking opportunity to go to places like that.
And I mean, think of it this way. Brian introduced him to me, and I fall back on Joey all the time.
Oh, Joey.
As an example.
Yeah.
I'm at the show and, I met Brian at Mobile Beach, Chicagoland, July of 2008. That's when we met. And that's still, to Pulse and I, the best show we've ever done. And we average probably 5 to 8 shows a year since then. So you do the math and you're like, you've done a ton of shows, but you still fall back on Mobile Beach, Chicagoland, 2008. I do. But a year or two later, we're at Expo. And Brian comes in the Pioneer DJ booth with this guy, glasses, bigger guy, seemed nice.
Ball cap on.
Yeah. The ball cap, just like a nondescript dude at the show.
Yeah.
Like nothing amazing. And I love the guy, so I can say that. He goes, hey, I want you to meet somebody. Oh, cool, Brian. Hey, this is Joey. Hey, Joey, nice to meet you. How are you? Good. Hey, Joey, tell him that song you played. He was at Cafeteria.
54. He was at Funhouse in 54.
Funhouse 54, but didn't he do something at Cafeteria too? Wasn't that the Jello?
I don't know Cafeteria. He worked at Funhouse and he worked.
Where did he do the Madonna track?
54.
That was 54.
Yeah.
Well, Joey proceeds to tell me about how this girl comes in with his friend Jelly Bean, who he didn't call Jelly Bean.
John. He went to school with John.
So
John was a couple years older than him, but yeah.
With his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And says, Madonna. Hey, you gotta play this.
Yeah.
And I believe, if we do the research, this is Joey Blue, the first guy to ever play Madonna in public.
Yeah,
that's who's walking around the show.
Right. There's a lot of people that you run into there that I don't know. I have a friend there who's one of the main program directors on Sirius XM. He attends Expo. He's a good guy, real good guy. And you wouldn't know that you're walking right past this guy or talking to this guy unless you have a conversation with him. Then you figure out who he is. It's like, oh my gosh. A lot of people like that at Expo.
I've got photos in the booth with Chris Cox, famous DJ, Lee Dagger, who's Bimbo Jones, famous DJ, Dave Day, famous DJ.
Do you remember that year that guy came onto the show floor in a Little John bobblehead? And he was running around all the booths and being an idiot?
Yes.
He was running around being an idiot everywhere. It's like, well, who is this jerk? You know, who thought a Little John bobblehead would be a good idea to have? You know, you know what I mean? The big
had the big head thing on.
Like a circus thing. And he goes into the Serato booth and he takes the helmet on, and it's Little John.
Yeah.
He's wearing the damn thing.
Yeah. I mean, Mel Starr, I've got photos of Biz Markie.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Scratching. Yeah. Like hanging out and arguing with me about
I was on stage with him and Slick Rick and DJ Cool.
Yeah.
A bunch of dudes.
B-side from, or flip side from Chicago. He's been there. A bunch of the Chicago guys have shown up.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just one of those things where
It's a fun show. It's
a really fun show because you're exposed to if you're from the East Coast, it's a great show to attend. If you're not from the East Coast, it's a better show to attend.
I would agree with that assessment.
Very rapid kind of, like, guys are like, hey, I came here, I spent my hard-earned money, give me something. I
agree with that.
Gear, I want knowledge, I want to be better. And that's
just
what
to
I've
check it
always
out.
loved.
And to see 70-year-old Italian men being dressed by their wives and they look like 14-year-old boys. It's hilarious.
They do. It's like
That
a
is funny.
Backstreet Boy reunion sometimes in that place.
Yeah. They got the gold chain and the cool button-down shirt, and it's very
And then you go outside on the boardwalk and it's all families because you realize you're on the Jersey Shore in the summer and here are these families, and then you walk a block away from the casino and things are falling apart and you're like, people live here? What's going on? It's just, there's so many.
You hear things in the elevator like, come on, knock it off. It's just, to me, hilarious.
I love the place. I really, really do.
It's an experience.
And if you go, come by the booth, say hi to me, and ask me where you should go to eat because I have the hookups on the local food scene.
All
I'll
right.
give you two right now. Atlantic City Bar and Grill, excellent. And Hong Kong. For Chinese, you will not get past the door because it looks like it should have been closed by the local food and beverage, but it is amazing. Fairmont Tavern for Italian, it's been there since the 30s.
Just go to White House Subs. Everybody likes it.
White House Subs.
Subs.
Can't lose with a White House
Go
sub.
there.
Get a sandwich or a sandwich.
What's that spot? What's that pizza spot called down on the boardwalk that everybody goes to?
Got
a funny name.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. It's over by Stilettos. Stilettos should take your life in your hands. I'm just saying. Just if you need to go to a place like Stilettos, go to the Diving Horse. But that's another story. That's that's on DJNTV After Dark.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit of information about DJ Expo. Please come.
Yeah, you should go.
Yeah.
Please
Be sure
join
to
us.
visit us on Tuesday night, 8 p.m.
Tuesday night at
St.
the
James
Irish
Ave.
Pub.
It's like
Love
4
the
blocks
Irish
away from
Pub.
Hard Rock. Just walk the
Yep.
boardwalk about 4 blocks. It's easy
Get on the
travel.
boardwalk, head, what do you head? South?
Yes.
Literally 4 blocks, you see this huge sign, Irish Pub. You go down a roadway, about 100 feet, and it's on your left.
Just past the
6:30
Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
It's on the right. Yep.
6:30 to 8, you're drinking for free with Pioneer, and after that, you can go up to Irish Pub and drink cheap
And hang out with all of us.
with us and chill out. So
Yep. And then we're all coming back to the Hard Rock, and you go to the main bar up in the front towards the boardwalk. They're open 24 hours. And ask
no,
for
the
Anthony.
one in the back by the boardwalk is 24 hours, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Well, in the front, meaning the front of the casino going to the back.
Towards the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, not the front of the building.
Yeah, that one is
Back of the building.
that one closes early.
Great matter.
Right.
Yeah.
But the one in the back towards the boardwalk.
It's staying
and if
open.
You go ask for Anthony and tell him Jay said to
Jason.
say hi. Trust me on that one.
Jay's getting a commission on this.
I got peeps. I got peeps at this show.
Well,
Yeah.
folks, hope to see you there, right? Come to DJ Expo 2024. Oh my God.
Everyone rest until then.
Yes.
Some liver push-ups if you need to, but
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
prepared.
Yeah. Condition yourself before you go to Expo.
Yeah.
Trust me on that.
Liver is evil. It must be punished. So just saying.
It's on the menu at the soul food restaurant there too. And it's good.
Oh, they've got a great Indian place right across the street. I'm not kidding. Went there with Pulse. $9. They gave us paper plates for the buffet. It was awesome.
But the food was
Walked
probably
out of
dope
there.
though, right?
No one spoke English. We literally ordered everything. The guy's like, I'm like, just pointing. He's like, handed me a paper plate. $9 later, I left. I'm like, only in Atlantic City.